Boom. Food Junkie Radio, episode 26.
Wow.
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 You were in the middle of what? We were talking about
We were
hard liquor
talking
and
about
food
hard
pairings.
liquor and food, and
Go
you
ahead.
had used the word branding about the old, like a steak and an old fashioned would be good.
Why does that go well?
Does that actually work, or is that just branding? And what I was going to say in rebuttal was, is it just branding that hard alcohol doesn't go with food? Because you think I go to a bar for hard alcohol.
Good point.
You know?
Good point.
I think, because, like, what if we had done the opposite as a civilization and just been like, yeah, hard alcohol, we eat with food, and wine's only on its own?
That is interesting.
It
Because
seems
why
almost
is
like
that-
arbitrary, or is there a real,
Real
palate
something?
reason of the palate for why that
Okay.
exists?
In your experience, have you ever fucked with a tasting menu that revolves around a hard liquor? Or have to do anything involving that? Whether it's in the pairing form or whether it's in the actual concoction of the dish is
Based around that, huh? Not one that I can remember.
Okay.
I have done beer pairings.
beers. See, that's
But
what
that's new. That's pretty new. And when I tell some people they're into it, and some people have been to one, it's not common. So I
Yeah.
think maybe that's what makes me think about the hard alcohol, is that just branding, that you only drink hard alcohol because it's more expensive, and it's whole. It's not just like a pour, and it's like its whole concoction on its own, and it's too challenging or too expensive to do it with
But
food.
see, on that merit alone, when you're talking about concoction of a hard liquor drink like a old fashioned or a margarita,
It takes more than 3 seconds.
that's what I'm
for
saying.
Sure.
Yeah, but that's crazy because that idea it seems more in line with preparing food.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
like making a drink.
Yeah,
yeah,
making a drink,
absolutely.
yeah, you know what I mean.
And maybe
You
that's
seem-
why it doesn't mix, because it's like I'm already like, if you're at home, you're not gonna take the time to make steak and potatoes and make yourself an old fashioned. You're gonna be tired from making the steak and potatoes at home and just be like, I just want like an IPA, or I just
Something to
want
pop open and
I just
easy
want
to-
that red wine that's open.
maybe cocktails are too intricate and they're not so straightforward. IPA, black, burgundy, whatever, versus, this has hints. Like, to me, some cocktails are very, very...
This makes me think of like a Aperol spritz, which is like 2 ingredients.
Yeah.
Even that you wouldn't necessarily think of food.
No.
Because it's already like, this is already my special thing. Like, if you went to a potluck and you brought a bottle of wine, people would be like, cool, thanks. Like, I get it, you didn't have time.
Yeah.
But if you brought Aperol spritz, which is literally like bringing 3 different wines to the same party,
Boom.
people would be like, wow, dude, you did so much.
Party starter.
Isn't that
Sangria,
crazy?
Party starter.
Yeah. So it's almost like we are seeing the time that goes into the drink as being like enough to be like, all right, I can't also, if I'm putting the time into the drink, I can't also put the time into cooking because I don't have that much time.
Maybe, to your point, because it's its own thing, it deserves its own attention.
Its own place. Yeah.
Because you can't just do it
Yeah.
as an add-on. Because it's
Yeah.
almost disrespectful to the bartenders. In the
Yeah.
sense of, you sometimes you see them setups where it's like, it looks like a farmer's market.
Yeah, it's kind of dope, actually. I'm into it.
I like it better than it was whatever before.
I don't like paying a bunch of money for it, but I respect, like,
No.
I respect the move that it's like, hey, it's like me in the kitchen, dude. I got like raw onions and garlic everywhere for me to cut, and they got like raw citrus. Actually, that guy I was telling you, the knife guy was saying, a lot of good bartenders are so obsessive that they won't use citrus or fruit juice that's more than 24 hours old because they feel like it's done.
Ooh.
Which is the same as like you wouldn't use, whatever.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
See, so it seems like it goes hand in hand, but almost maybe it is treated as its own. Like, I would feel more comfortable having one of those as like a in-between meal. You know what I mean? Like, here's a aperitif, or here's a, intermezzo or whatever. Like, okay, we'll just have a little cocktail, calm things down, cleanse the palate or prepare the palate for the next thing. I could see like one of them cucumber, flower drinks slowly moving into like a very light
Maybe they
salad or
have
something.
their own so many different flavors in it that it's like you can't really serve it with food because then it's like so many things happening. How
Yeah.
you do keep that straight?
Yeah. Do you make the cocktail after the food, or do you make the food after the cocktail?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have to
and
choose.
It takes precedence. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do them at the same time.
Where wine and shit is just like red. It's one.
Yeah.
It's singular. So now when you're preparing food, you could just kind of match it off of a singular flavor.
And even though we use like multiple words to describe wine, that's I think I've noticed it in my friends. Sometimes they're like, "What do all that?" I'm like eat a cucumber or eat a peach and then drink that rosé.
Yeah.
It does not taste the same.
Yes.
But that like last little part of that peach where you got like a little skin and a little of the juice still, that like weird flavor that it's peach, but it's also kind of like peach but different. That one little part, that's part of that wine, is what they're on this part.
They're trying to accentuate.
That's what they're trying to describe. And sometimes they go with it, and sometimes they're like, no, I think you're still making shit up.
Do you think it's all horseshit?
No. I think
50%.
I think it's a skill. I think it's an attitude that you have to really work on. Because I used to think it was bullshit, and then I remember in school, I feel like that was going the wrong way.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, nope.
That's a one way.
That side right here.
I remember in culinary school we did a tap water tasting, and he got bought 3 different bottles of water, and then he got tap water from the filtered tap water off the fountain machine, and then he got tap water off a sink, and then a different tap water from someone. We tried all these waters, and it's it's all water, but I was like, he's like, do they taste the same? And you have no, they don't. And so I think sometimes there's a disconnect with the Psalms and stuff, who drink wine all day, every day. And it's yeah, for sure, you can taste the difference between this cab and this cab. But the average person who hasn't had a cab in 3 weeks is not.
No.
Not to the same level. Maybe if you poured a little of them side by side, they'd be able to taste a little bit. Yeah. But it's you've been checking that cab every day this week. You know everything about it. Yeah. You probably know the guy that made it. Who he himself has imparted knowledge onto you, and you have to try and decipher what knowledge needs to be passed on to the diner. But anyway, back to that's why I don't think it's bullshit.
I think that struggle. It's suggesting, and I agree with you. I think that with intent, if you know that you're going in to understand the sciences, clearly they're all different. Yeah, that's for sure. But I think in the casual tone, and it's weird because I think as we continue to have these conversations about food and where we're trying to find the line between fine dining, upper dining, mid, everyday person, what is small percentage, those are always going to be, we'll never know the numbers. But when we do talk about that, it's there's that another level, and it's not necessarily a better one. It's like you said, Psalms are in there on cab, they're drinking it every day. So when you walk in, and I don't know how many people actually have. I don't even think it's about the knowledge. I think that when one gets to a point where they know what they like in terms of the speech, let's just say wine, that's kind of, you take those experiences in, and then you're also, if you found enough wine along the way, and you just kind of stick to one. And a lot of it might be the flavor. Some of it might just be the look. Some of it might have been the moment, and then you just kind of stick with it. I'm okay with that because I think I've come to understand a lot of what our industry or what the food industry is, at least on certain levels, is just, this is my offering, take it or leave it. And I think that goes across the board. So
this
if a psalm
is the experience I have for you.
Yeah, exactly. And if it don't work with it, it's not a sign of disrespect if, say, someone doesn't fully on board with it, or it's kind of a ding. I think just more of, it's an experience, wasn't my favorite, but I admire everything away from it. Yeah. Meaning, what he did and how he did it. And, the suggestion was great. I didn't find the pairing well, but I appreciate it. I think that is the way I would see it in a perfect world. But I think
that's the way we see it. Yes. With a little bit of knowledge of the back end of that.
See, people have knowledge
knowing how much effort went into this, and okay, but then I think about this is why I like going out to eat, because it reminds me to be what's behind the curtain does not matter to me as the diner. It doesn't matter that you only got 1 hour sleep last night. To me, it doesn't make it taste better. It doesn't matter that you've talked to this guy 3 times this week to get. I don't care. you know what I need from you as the diner? I need my money that I spend here
Yeah.
to feel like it's worth it.
I need you to match what I want, and I
Yeah.
don't even know what I want.
Yeah.
You need to tell me what I want and make sure
Yeah.
I like what you gave me. That's a very
the
interesting
diner's
dynamic.
part is you have to participate a little bit in building the experience. You can't just sit there and be like,
Yeah.
it was bad. It was bad.
Oh, okay. I know what you're saying.
It was good. Like, if you read the menu and you see cauliflower puree, and you already know, you're like, I fucking hate cauliflower. Like, I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe don't order that thing. You know,
I see.
help improve your own experience a little bit.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, or if it's a tasting menu and you look at it like, if you're going to a tasting menu place, if the menu's out ahead of time, you should be looking at it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're spending a ton of money.
Ton of money.
That's like you wouldn't buy a car without ever getting in it.
Exactly.
You know, you don't.
Yeah.
You
You
give
would
it a little
Carfax
test
your
run.
menu.
You would at least find some pictures of it. Okay?
Menu facts. There needs to be a menu facts out there.
Look at the menu facts the best that you can, and you see there's capers on a dish, and you know whatever your last partner broke up with you over something that had capers in it, and capers are trash to you. You hate them. You know, whatever. Like, you had a negative experience. Maybe call that restaurant a couple days ahead and be like, hey, I have a severe dislike of capers. Is it possible to get, or is there something I can do? Is there something you can, like, partake in the experience a little bit? And I would hope that the restaurant would be like, sure, you're calling. I know that I would.
Of course.
If someone called like a couple days in advance and was like,
about it,
was like, can I get this without capers? I'd be like, yeah. Sure, for sure. Make yourself known when you get here. It's the same thing as like allergies that we've talked about before. Like, you got to take a little bit of responsibility, and like the people who have called me ahead of time, at least a couple days, I'm like, yeah, I'll work with you because you're already starting a positive thing, and I'll work back with you. So part of your experience of going out to eat is reliant on you coming in with a good attitude, coming in with just a little bit of knowledge, not a lot.
No.
And then on the flip side of that, as I've gotten older, I'm like, me as the restaurant, I'm there to help people have a good time. And not everyone's going to have a good time the same way I do. And I have to be a little bit flexible on if you like that and I can provide it, I should provide it.
Yeah.
At least that's how I am in the restaurant that I'm at
Every
right
restaurant,
now, which is a la carte.
Yeah.
I could see maybe someone who has like a 15, 12, 8-course tasting menu where everything is like the wines have been paired. Yeah. Like, they've done research for months.
All of our prep has been prepared.
And you call and you're like, I don't like red peppers.
Yeah.
They'd be like, okay, well, we'll just leave it off for you. But
It'll
we think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
No replacement. Because it's like the amount of it'd be like doing your PhD and then someone who knows nothing being like, I don't like that paragraph, take it out.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you would just be like, no. Like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I'll give you a paper without the paragraph.
I'll give you an essay without that paragraph, but what I'm
paragraph.
actually going to turn in to everyone else is going to be what I did.
Yeah.
You don't. So you have to. Everyone has to find their levels of how much you're willing to bend, how much you're willing to give, how much you're willing to just sacrifice and be okay with, and that's kind of how you find out. Oh, maybe I'm kind of like the person who likes to go to the bistro, or maybe I'm the person that likes to do this.
Fine dining.
Or maybe I'm the restaurant that wants to be a little bit, whatever you want, you come in and get. But that means I can't get the best of everything because I can't afford to just let it sit there.
Oh, see, look at
So
that.
you have to
the
be
mental things about eating food.
You don't have to be completely knowledgeable of the other side, but you have to be at least be respectful of like, they're trying to do this, I need to help provide that, or they're trying to do this, I need to enjoy it.
How many times in a year, roughly, do you think that you'll know what you want to eat? Like, especially not like every day, but let's just say, like,
I like that question.
Like, when you're going out to eat or some shit.
And I'm getting it.
Yeah. How many times does that actually happen?
I would say,
because I'm more spur of the moment, but where do you stand on that? Because I get what you're saying with all the diner thing, but I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, how many people? Because I'm
exactly what they want.
I'm more on the line of like, I'm experiencing things. I'm just down for whatever. That's the age-old question. Hey, what do you want to have for lunch? What do you have? I don't know. What are you thinking? Oh, I don't know.
How many times do I I would say how many times I know specifically exactly the thing I want to eat a year is probably like 2 or 3
times.
Like that, but that's like very.
Yeah.
I would say once a day, probably once every 3 days. I know more generally, like, oh, I want like something rich and fat.
Okay, see, so you have a generality.
Where like maybe 2 to 3 times a year, I'm like, today, I need a fried chicken hot sandwich.
See, there you go. That's what
with
I'm thinking.
Coleslaw and pickles.
Yes, very specific.
The more specific, the way more rare. But
See,
I
so,
would say like once every 3 days, I'm like, oh, dude, you know what sounds good? A salad with just some like light dressing and some
generally
something sweet.
Generally is a big deal, but the specifics in my head, I'm like, no, that can't happen too often.
No,
because when people try to debate on,
then you're making it too hard on yourself.
That's what I'm thinking. So that's why I was like, okay, take that out of the equation. So now everybody's more in a realm of like, generally I want to have this. Okay, cool. Now you quantify that to the restaurants. It's almost it mirrors that because restaurants are like, look, this is kind of what I want to serve. Generally, I'll work around these frames. Yeah. So then, and I don't know how many.
A couple outliers for that awkward friend that comes. That's like, there are definitely things like that.
I was always fascinated by that because I was thinking in my head, I'm like, there's only certain times I have cravings, and I'm like, I ain't eating nothing until I eat this.
Yeah, I did it today, actually.
Oh, what'd you have?
I've been holding out. I've been really wanting a Hot Boys fried chicken sandwich.
Everybody's talking about Hot Boys fried chicken.
And I've been waiting and waiting and waiting because I was like, one, it's not good for you. Okay, it's fried chicken.
Clearly.
Okay.
Yes.
On like a bun that tastes like it's got a pound of sugar in it and tastes amazing.
Exactly.
You know, it's so good. But it was perfect. It was I've been like satisfied all day since I had it.
See, and that's the beauty that food does bring to the table. When you quench
Glad
that.
I waited too. Yeah. It was like delayed gratification.
See. Yeah, that's why I was like back to the restaurant thing. I was trying to understand, like, along with the going back to the alcohol pairing and stuff, and then the wine thing. It is always all suggestion, I think, in that regard. But I also thought about other things that I've seen, like like the brunch trend. I don't know where that is nowadays, but I know it still exists to some degree. But even having
adding brunch too.
But even having the alcohol element of brunch is always fascinating too.
The mimosas,
because that kind of just works.
Bloody Marys.
That works in that dynamic for some reason. You know what I mean? Even though
I'll drink the brunch drinks all day.
All day.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
But you could serve me one at dinner. I'd be.
But
you know what a mimosa at dinner is called, right?
No,
a blini.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, see, look at that. See? My dumb ass over here, like. What was that at dinner? What's it called?
Yeah, because if someone gave you a mimosa at dinner, you'd be like, "What the fuck is this? It's not breakfast.
This is a blini."
But if someone gave you a blood orange blini, you'd be like, "Oh, sick, dude!" I'm like,
fancy. But see, that's weird. How and then going back to kind of how brunch was branded. It's like you always, at least from how I've always seen it, it's always a booze situation. Yeah, and then like
that's the picture in my head.
Yeah,
when people are like, "Let's go get brunch." I'm like, I'm gonna eat something fatty. With egg yolk.
Fucking yolk all day.
I want yolk.
Probably over
just
some
give
pork
me a
belly
glass of yolks blended with some butter, and that's what I want, dude.
With a fucking
and then I want a real acidic drink with it. Yeah. Probably gonna get a Bloody Mary or a mimosa, unless I look at your cocktail list and I see something wild, and then I'll get that.
Some do get creative. You'll see a Michelada slip in there. You'll see like a
I know, I'm trying to think of
Bucks
one.
Fizz. Like it always a rendition of an old school.
Always some acid with bubbly. That's perfect. Cause that's what you need against like egg yolks and stuff.
Yeah, so they kind of built the idea of what this brunch idea is. It's you coming off of a
bender from the night
before. Because it seems like that's what it caters towards. On top, it not only caters to that, it caters to Mother's Day. It also caters to the
sure.
Everybody that just wants to have a thing like that's the AM.
That's like
idea.
how you start your weekend when you're not going to have the most productive weekend.
No, exactly. Yeah. Vacation weekend starting off with brunch.
Yeah,
clearly
for sure.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's what we do when we go on vacation.
Okay,
we can't get into the house like most places are like noon or whatever. You can't get in there until like noon or after. So that day, I don't know how other people are. No, my family takes a little time to settle in. So the vacation kind of really feels like it starts like the next morning. We always go out for brunch that first morning.
That's when shit gets loose.
Yeah. Then everyone's like, oh, okay, we'll go back, take a nap. And then it's like the transition from like work life to vacation life.
Starts with the brunch.
For me, Saturday night when we finish closing, even though we got a cleaning day tomorrow, I was like, vacation, bro. I'm staying up all night. I'm playing video games all night. I can't wait, dude. Okay. If I had mimosa on draft in my apartment right now, I would be trashed. I switch on a dime, but
why is that? It's so crazy how that is. But I mean, that to be honest, that is a very good.
That
way
might have
to
been the
put
adrenaline from service, but
no, but that's
Yeah.
how it works.
Yeah.
But to your point of how brunch does set that tone. But that I don't know if that's good marketing or that's just like by happenstance or whoever was behind the idea of brunch and how those pair together and how it's just kind of that universal idea.
just something that I think it's just
Kudos.
something that made like one of those ideas that not everyone thought of, but as soon as someone thought of it, we were like, that makes fucking sense, bro.
But everybody in the restaurant
Makes
world don't
sense.
want to work brunch. Nobody wants
I
to work
don't know.
brunch.
I'm kind of leaning towards maybe doing it now.
You're talking about after.
I'm kind of nervous about it.
Young you would be fucking after a Saturday
It's
night.
hard to think about young you.
300
I
covers.
leave young me in the past, dude. I leave him there, and
You know, young
I
you
learn
would
from
not
his
be,
mistakes.
Young you would not be going to no brunch shift after
I don't
a Saturday
know. Well,
night.
clearly, me now is not going to no brunch shift because we don't do it.
You now ain't having no Saturday night benders going into Sunday.
No.
See,
no.
that's how you're like, you know what? We should do brunch.
We should do brunch because
Meanwhile-
it's more time to make more money.
Your staff over here, like, man, I get home when the sun comes up. Like, what are you talking
Probably.
about? You know what I mean?
Probably.
I have an interesting one. This is also a trend that I think I might have been picking up on per our conversation last week with Chris. Because he has the coffee shop, right? But there's also like a little place where, you know, he can kind of play
The coffee
around.
shop that he helps with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coffee shop he helps with. He has a space there to kind of play with stuff from a food element. So I'm noticing
do
that.
something way different.
So I'm noticing that because I have run into a couple different people that are heading up kitchens in coffee shops.
That's actually what he was talking about that whole time, huh? Was like consulting and
Parts of it.
It's a way to like
get
give
the
his
creative.
mind
yes.
a different creative outlet
Without
so he
having
doesn't
to
just
commit.
get tunnel vision. Yeah.
But on that note, I was thinking on the trends of, you know, like we were talking about the brunch thing, we were talking about hard liquor and pairing. With coffee, because coffee and high-end food, you're not seeing, not high-end food, I don't want to say that. Coffee, and like you see the bagel thing, you see like a little
I think
burrito,
you see
a little
coffee
bit.
in fine dining. Yeah.
I could see it, but
at the end of your meal.
true, but more now in these new coffee shops are inheriting like chefs on board.
Oh,
That's
okay,
what I'm talking
okay.
about.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what are we
Like
seeing
there's
on that
coffee
end?
shops with like
With executive
people
chefs.
with like executive chefs, or at least consult with the executive stuff and doing something intense. Well,
they
I
got
think,
cooks back there. They got cooks. It's that
they have like a for real cook.
yeah.
Well, do you think that's in line with? I would say even a little bit now. People are kind of down to come in and be your little experimental guinea pig. At least for me,
for a coffee shop.
like no, just
in general.
They're like if I'm working on a dish and I kind of put it out and it's like 60% ready.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if it's only like 20% ready and they're a regular, I just give them that little 20. Like, what do you think of this so far?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, this is great, or oh, this is bad. And I think we're coming on a time where when people used to be down to pay for a dish that was maybe like 70-80% ready to be complete and be happy to go give you feedback, and they were into that. Do you think it's valid to say that people when they go out now are like the dish has to be 100% ready?
I think it's,
I don't think so
it's
here.
more on the. I think it's more on the business or the cook or the chef.
That's what I would say too.
Yeah.
I think if I went to somewhere expensive and I got a dish where I was like, it's not
It's
really
in
that
progress.
great,
Yeah.
I'd be kind of upset.
True.
I would be.
Yeah. But I
I
was
wouldn't
thinking,
be mad, but
I was thinking more on the coffee side, just trying to figure out that it is interesting because have coffee shops kind of taken over, or is becoming, let's just say, anything but dinner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
what is a place of business that
I wish they
isn't
were.
breakfast or lunch?
Yeah. Like a bodega.
A
Like
bodega.
where you get your whatever they do in New York, the bagel with
Yeah.
cheese and egg.
Or they could go extensively and they do like full on meals.
Well, you can do breakfast all day.
There's a lot of flexibility there because you're not in the morning. Yeah, you're kind of restricted to maybe a breakfast idea, but once 10 o'clock rolls around, and then they have most coffee services go through at least noon till about 3, sometimes all the way at night. But the ones that go past noon, I think that's where the opening spot is. Because now I think coffee shops, if you just go by the price of coffee, and then you see how many people just go there casually now, that almost takes the place of almost like a restaurant for lunch.
Yeah.
In all honesty,
Well,
because
usually you're kind of rushed, and so
Exactly.
you're like, oh, I'll just go to the Starbucks
and grab something.
And I'm kind of tired, so I'll get a coffee, and they have stuff. I'll just get one of the. I bet. I would say, yeah. It almost makes me feel like IHOP and the diner, kind of ushered in this era of like breakfast all day. Because like McDonald's used to
do it.
Not.
Used to not.
Yeah,
they
it was
were
like
hard stance
10,
on it. Yep.
It was like 9:30.
Yeah.
If you came in at 10:01, no. Now you can get breakfast all day. Maybe that's just us as the public being like, we don't always need something crazy, dude. You know what I need right now is like 2 eggs.
Maybe is it a price point thing?
Because it's cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap and fast.
Cheap fast.
What's wrong with cheap and fast?
Cheap, fast, and good.
Yeah.
And when was it ever regulated only for the morning time? Because I like eating that shit late, like late night.
That's also a great. Well, look at like pasta carbonara.
Good point. That is
you
a
can eat
item.
that at any point of the day.
Yeah.
We did it on that brunch that we did.
That's a smart move.
And well, we're like a pasta place. I had to do some pasta.
You got to do carbonara. Come on now. Yeah. Everybody loves carbonara.
Yeah.
I don't
know where I was going with this.
I just noticed the chef thing because there was a couple dudes came in and I'm just like,
the coffee shop I
used
to go. Well, used to. I just
still do.
I was there.
Just
today.
did.
I just went and had my cold brew. They used to have these burritos, basically a breakfast burrito. It had like eggs, tater tots, and then they had one that had like bacon in addition, and they had one that had like soy riso in addition. And then they had like the classic I don't know. I think just extra egg and toxin. I think it was regular. And that was hella cheese. That's what it was. I was into that, dude, because I could like whatever go about my morning. I'm not a big breakfast person, probably to detriment to myself. But then I would go get like lunch there after running around town, get my cold brew. Get one of those burritos, smash that thing, and be ready to like work.
So now maybe and I don't know. This can't be. This is generalized, but this has no kind of. This is just a fucking. I'm thinking. Lunch is more preferred that way. I think generationally, right? Like we want it more on the go. At least for lunch.
We're much more on the go. We're not like a sit down, have a lunch meeting.
No, I don't think so because it's been a while since I really.
We're not.
Went
I feel
out
like
to
our
just
age
have
group
lunch.
isn't a very much of like let's have a meeting.
Fuck no.
We're very much like
text it to me or
text me or email me some shit, some key points, and I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. If not, meet for coffee.
You Zoom me at some point. And we can talk for like 10 minutes, dude. If you don't get the idea after that, you should be off this project.
See, so then what does that make of lunch now? See, that's what's interesting because I think I've started kind of piecing that together in my mind because I was like, how coffee shops have kind of at least. In this area, because away from the big chains, we're talking about very artisan ones that are coming out, very high quality across the board.
High quality coffee.
Shouts out to coffee culture out in Sacramento. There is a lot of options. You know what I mean? But in saying that, the price obviously is at a certain price point, and rightfully so for all the work that's going into it. And along with that also comes, as a benefactor, is the food element. Like you said, these coffee shops are being smart and building out a kitchen. Where before,
it's like an alternative revenue source.
But that's
Why
what's
not
crazy
diversify?
because I would assume that before coffee was so cheap that you're not going to put a kitchen in there because this is just more of an in-between thing. But now that coffee is kind of this thing, they now, I'm assuming, have the overhead or the foresight to be like, look, let's put a full kitchen in here and we could do high-end breakfast and then finesse that into like
as long as it's fast.
But that's what I'm saying. And
we
they
could like
come up with
make our own croissant. We could, something. Yeah. I would say,
So that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, lunchtime is in restaurants. I mean, they still exist, obviously, for more formal gatherings, I guess, if they're there. But in terms of the everyday person, I'm assuming that's what that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I always try to come at it from.
Yeah. See, so now every coffee shop's going to be full, and everybody wants in and out of there. But also, people want food on the go. And that's a weird sweet spot because it does allow another avenue for cooks and chefs to kind of get in there. And the person who is buying coffee has their choice of really good food options, where before you would think donuts,
a donut,
little breakfast
or some
sando,
Costco muffin.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Pre-bought,
if you were
scone.
lucky, some kind of like toad in a hole thing or whatever.
I mean, just look at Starbucks. If Starbucks is proclaimed as one of the more popular, coffee brands on this side of the coast, you see their food menu. It's only growing.
It gets bigger all the time.
It gets bigger all the time.
Used to be I remember when they started doing cake pops, and it was like,
pops.
yo, what?
Exactly.
You could, and then all of a sudden they were like,
cake pops next to
now
their
we got
fucking
these little
year 2000
egg muffin things
CDs.
or whatever they
Yeah,
do.
they got
Sausage,
egg, they
eggs,
got
biscuits or
burritos,
whatever
they got protein bowls, they got.
Yeah, they have like, you can go in there and have a decent enough lunch or breakfast.
But then you also
on your
know
way.
that you will walk into a coffee shop and see somebody there, and then you'll go in the afternoon and still see the same person.
The same person.
So that's
usually
why
that's me.
It's both people. It's both people that exist in this weird coffee space. Because on top of coffee, and then being in California, you got to think of like the tea houses and the boba houses. Those are have always been having snacks on the side, and
Yeah.
some of those have turned into hybrid poke places, sushi spots. So. I'm only noticing it, but it is interesting because I think that is a generational thing where you look at places, and not to say there's nothing wrong with IHOP and Denny's, and they still have their clientele, but that's more of
they have great pancakes at those places.
They have more of an antiquated kind of audience in a lot of ways, where the new generation is more of this.
Well, we're on the go.
On the go.
I tell everyone. Actually, one of the cooks the other day was like, "Oh, you're in your office now?" Because I was like on my phone doing whatever, and I was like, "Yeah, dude. I mean, in reality, my phone is my office my office desk.
Yeah, there is no need for.
I have a laptop, but I almost never use it.
Don't need
unless I'm like really typing something.
That is the laptop.
Unless I'm printing something, honestly.
Wait till that printer of that size comes out.
There's apps, dude. The health department has those ones.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've seen it, which are cool. I'm not carrying that thing around with me everywhere.
Not yet.
I'm sure there's an app that I could get that would let me hook it up to my printer, and it would make my life easier. But whatever, dude. Laptop's kind of nice to have still. See? Maybe we're out of here, dude. We're already the older generation.
Oh, I mean, I'm already accepting it. That's why I'm trying to look into the future and look at the generation now and
see what's going to happen.
That's what I'm thinking.
Shops.
Why to go is so big, and fast is the name of the game, and it always has been in some manner. But I think we're talking about the possibility of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Whoever does that same, 3, those will be all viable options, and you don't ever have to go nowhere. Or if you do go to those places, you could just go in there and grab something very high quality and just walk out within minutes. And I think that's cool. I'm assuming it's cool.
You know what it makes me think of is talking about how like us and the generation behind us is like constantly moving, being super efficient. It almost reminds me of like the microwave era when it was like you got to move. And instead of the microwave being at home and being great, now we just have like more fancy microwaves because I mean that's what Starbucks does to those things.
There's
more or
zapping
less
machines.
it may not use microwaves exactly, but it is heating something super fast to get a good product.
To get a very
so it's almost
good product,
like we just with the evolution of science, we just invented better, faster.
We got efficient. It's just like the idea was
makes
there.
me think it's like new microwave instead of being at home is now just this coffee shop is your on the go microwave and they're just instead of being at home they're just dotted everywhere.
Yeah, but the perception is I know I go in there and it is of high quality, where it kind of makes sense. So you're out of the house, you're on the road, but you could hop into anything, whether it's coffee, whether it's I can't say fast food just to kind of X them out, not to be mean, but let's just say coffee, and then any other eatery is built for this efficiency model.
Yeah.
Especially after this whole
like
situation.
My favorite sandwich spot, like Roxy Deli, dude. If there's no line, I could walk in there and walk out with a dank ass sandwich in like 10 minutes.
10 minutes, crazy. So that's why everything's kind of been upped. Now, is it everything been upped? Is that in our minds, or is that no? This is just shifting, kind of following where the audience goes, because the quality I think is sustained, especially out here, only in the sense of. Because of the regulations and the red tape, just to operate a food business here, for one, already puts you in a standard. Second, if you're doing it for business, there's always going to be a level of, goodness, for lack of a better word. But there's always going to be a level that's great. So whatever is in the past is whatever's in the past, good or not. Whatever we're doing now seems like it's on this pathway to just being ultimately transparent. And then on top of that, being efficient. It's almost to the point where it's inevitable. Robots got to be there.
That's what us as the consumer would like the businesses to be 100% transparent.
Yes.
But then the reality is that they can't, because then they just let their competitor take
over. So there's a little bit of
there's always a little gamesmanship happening. Yeah, I've seen some of the computer cooker things, and people have asked me, like, are you worried? And I was like, honestly, no. I don't think a computer will ever be, at least in my lifetime, will ever be able to compete with a human as cooking.
Computers, if you're hearing that, that's Polo. Yeah. That's not me. Computer algorithm, I am Ryan. I am on your team. Right. When you come to take us all down.
Computers, you can put me in a pod, okay? Put me in a pod and take care of me and whatever. Put me in some simulation. I'll be stoked, dude. I'll
but
whatever.
I think to your
I'll
point,
submit.
I think to your point, we are evolving correctly in the sense with hand in hand with like science and technology to varying degrees, especially in the food world. It's almost inevitable that it'll get to some. I think there's always going to have to be a human there, at least in the food game, only because there's just a lot of moving parts. And to program something to do all those things is crazy. Now I could see the element of, something of aid, meaning like, this arm just flips this for me, or this just cuts bread.
Yeah, I could see
singular ideas.
Machines that do a singular task for you.
Yeah.
I could see that. Well, they kind of already are.
Yeah.
Like a mixer.
Yes. Yeah.
It takes a lot of more setup, but I can definitely see as robotics advance them being like, all the burgers that come in, the robot just does it. You don't have to do that. Yeah. I could see that for sure. Yeah. I just don't see in my lifetime the ability of a machine to beat a human in a cooking thing in my life.
Beat a cooking mean like talking about like create the same thing
just
you're making?
Like all the things that I have to do every day for the restaurant to operate. Yeah. A robot's not going to be able to do.
For sure
not in my lifetime. No. It's not. Even just the stuff I do within the four walls.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
It's not going to. But I can see, because I am into the sci-fis, like Star Trek has the food replicators. I don't see why that can't be possible one day.
It's already here. If it's on Star Trek, it's here, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's like, I hope we get there because I think it would be dope for the human civilization to like save that time to further advance us as a species, and I would hope that's what we do.
Oh, man. Is like you would hope so.
I would hope so. I know I'm a big hoper. You know,
we got lots of hope. I like to crush dreams. It's fine.
You like to crush dreams.
Right. Well, they'll give us that hope, and then give us the movie where
think how much more
time we have.
Time that you would just have every day if you had to do nothing but say, I want a burger and fries.
But
and
see,
it appears. But then on top of that, how much time do you save? Think of how much extra brain power could get added to other activities if we did not need cooks, if we did not need chef.
Good point.
Because they're not useless besides that one skill. You know, they go into that and they advance that field. And it would be cool for us to. It'd be like a huge leap for us to start advancing faster.
I mean, it seems like it's starting, or at least it's in the thick of it, because as time progresses, I mean, the model, like I always say, the business model has changed. Like, so, and seeing this, like, for instance, you saw have you seen that Domino's commercial with the self-driving?
Yeah.
That's
so, crazy.
I mean, even though,
it's useful.
Joke or not, that is here.
It's here.
It's on a commercial. That is closer than we realize. So, meaning, autonomous vehicles delivering your pizza. All right, cool.
Autonomous vehicles.
Vehicles.
Imagine how much more you get done every day if you just got in your car and were like, go here. So and you could just be on your phone.
And trust. See, this becomes a thing of trust, I think, for me, because we're so easy to chalk it up to like, hey, they're going to do the best thing, most efficient, give us the most time. But I'm in my head, I'm like, who is actually regulating this?
Someone has to program it.
That's what I'm thinking.
There's still a human brain behind it. And
yeah,
well, there's how many movies have been devoted to this? Was it iRobot talked about the 3 rules of AI, and how even though they seem straightforward to us, when you put it into a computer, it's like I was telling them about the new pasta machine I have. I was like, machines are dumb. Mm-hmm. They do the task. Mm-hmm. They do the task great, but you have to set them up to do the task. Mm-hmm. So it's like the machine will break itself if you set it up that way. Like if I put a bunch of rocks into my KitchenAid bowl, it'll keep turning. Yeah. Because that's all it knows how to do. Yeah. Turn. Mm-hmm. If it stops, it's just going to turn. Mm-hmm. It's not like you or I where we have the built-in like pain to be like, stop, where if we were trying to push something, all of a sudden you're like, I think my arm is going to break. Yeah. I stop. Machines don't do that.
No.
They just break.
No.
So It's interesting. I'm fascinated by robotics and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a field I always like. I'm interested by. I always think
It's going to be in the food industry. To what degree and how much? I mean, that's where I think we're starting to try to piece together a basis on putting that together.
And how do you use it effectively?
Exactly. Because on top of being transparent, now you're going to try to sell the idea of like, I'm not even touching your food. And now,
super sanitary.
Yeah, this is like, so it kind of works in that benefit. But then also it's very consistent. We're trying to take away the fallacy, I guess, of the guessing game in food. You know what I mean? Where the creativity may take a hit, but that's looking down the road. I'm just in my head. I'm thinking with this whole noticing the coffee thing and the lunch thing. I'm like, yeah, it's definitely shifting. It's just to us, it won't be. We see it in real time as reflecting, where people that are in it are just it's just happening. They're not questioning it. They're like,
all right, people come in, they need a food option.
Yeah.
All right, let's get some scones and
exactly.
They want a more savory. They don't just want something sweet. Okay, let's do some bagels. Now they want something with more sustenance. They're just reacting to what the market is deciding.
Are we to believe that Starbucks has a whole bunch of like top end chefs back there putting together these concoctions? You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm thinking if you quantify that, how many businesses that may or will enter this, robotic field or this
this like new category.
Yeah. Will they have
shop.
some kind of
coffee / bodega / restaurant?
I could see it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's efficient. Everything's there. One stop shop. I mean, what's Amazon really? You know what I'm saying?
That's why Amazon is so expensive.
Well, they dominate everything.
Awesome, because they're one shop. You can go in there and get anything.
True.
Together at one place.
But knowing that, the idea of it is great, but then the idea of it's shitty at the same time. Because now...
Well, we've already seen what happens.
Exactly. If we want to have
one person gets all the power.
Thank you. See?
So it's great, singular. But it's bad.
It's bad because he can dictate prices at any given point.
Everything has balance, dude.
So now we have to kind of retract, and not to say retract that back. I think just pointing that out. I think we're out of the game in making those decisions. I don't think we were in those decisions, but I think looking at it and then seeing how it takes shape in certain areas of field. That's why food is always interesting, because everybody's going to do it. Everybody eats it. Everybody does eat. Everybody has food. Now, how we do that and how people do it, it's still a fucking mystery. But as things progress, like you said, that microwave comment was genius, because you're like, people were like, oh, everything's a microwave. It was the selling point of the century for that time.
Save so much time. Save so much time.
Great meal. Look,
I guess that's all we ever wanted. Save time.
But see, now when all of a sudden that notion became, antiquated, like, oh, fucking, I don't eat microwave food. Yeah. But yet,
I eat fresh
Starbucks,
stuff.
I'm gonna get Starbucks from this and this and this. And then if it's not fresh, or it's fresh enough, or it's branded with that style, I just agree that it's good. But we know it's frozen.
Yeah.
There's no way they're delivering fresh, like burritos wrapped, and then here you warm them up. But the perception is, well, I mean, it's hot, and I mean, it tastes like
it's from
fresh.
A reputable company.
See, so now we're kind of getting back to this whole like, so are we to think that humans just really don't want to know what the fuck they're eating?
Was after the microwave thing, was that when like the eat healthy thing became kinda popular? Like eat salads and this and that.
I want to say it might have been like one after the other. I think microwave era was in that 50s. During
my line of thinking is like the microwave got popular because it was fast. Right.
Dual income housing, and people couldn't stay home and just cook food.
Yeah. Okay. So then it makes me, and then when we realized the one fault of it, we just were like, well, I'm not giving up fast. You as the industry need to figure out fast for me still. Yes. And I wonder if that's why like that health food, eat raw salad thing got popular, because it was like the only way to keep up the speed. And like here's fresh tomatoes, here's radish, here's avocado, here's lettuce greens. And the only way to keep speed is we won't really cook anything, we'll just cut stuff.
You know what's interesting is when the diet thing was
Maybe
big.
I can figure out the future if I just figure out what's fast.
That's what I'm thinking. But see, did they get us co-opted into the idea of being efficient and fast? Because where are we rushing to?
But that's what we talk about every week.
Every time. Where are we in a hurry to go?
I know. Well, where are we in a hurry to go?
We're not. But
that's
I
wake up and
think,
I'm like, whatever, dude. Oh, I got hella shit to do. I'll be fine, dude. I'm taking my hour.
Yeah.
To me,
it's like there's nothing really pressing, but it's just more of a mentality of
we're always like, I got to get there.
Hey, go, efficient.
When then we've always talked about what happens when you get there. You
wait
just
for
see
the next
someone
thing.
else who's farther ahead of you. You're like, well, I got to get there.
Yep, exactly.
I got to get. No.
We're
Where are you
parroting.
going?
No, that's
you don't even know, like you said 2 or 3 episodes ago, where's the finish line? You don't even know.
No.
The start line's so far behind you,
Yeah.
you don't even know where you're at.
You just were placed in the race. You weren't even there at the beginning.
You weren't even there.
No.
You never saw the start line because
that was before us.
Yeah, it was before us.
It was way before us.
Yeah, so now you're
But
just
we're
going.
in this race, but we don't know where the finish line is. But we're all playing this like, hey,
we
I need to
know
be
where
that guy.
like the little checkpoints are, kind of.
Kinda. Based on maybe
We
the
make
dudes
up
ahead
our
of
own
us.
checkpoints.
But that's what I'm
And
saying.
we're like, I'm advancing. Are you? Or
Yeah.
you just, for all you know, you're in some simulation running on a treadmill.
Exactly.
And it's just like, they're just hitting you with a little shot of serotonin. Oh, you got an A? Serotonin.
Oh, I mean,
oh, you ate good today? Serotonin.
what movie is that? That's got to be a movie plot.
Let's make our own movie. I don't think I've seen that movie.
No,
we
I'm
should
pretty
do it.
sure
Let's
there's
do
a
it.
movie that there's so many of those movies that kind of
Yeah.
do that. But that's why every time
Inception.
there's food,
That's
anytime
that's
there's
one of
food
them.
involved, I always look at the food because I'm like, what the fuck they doing with food? Since we're in the future, what the fuck is this? And rarely it's addressed. Only in certain things that you'll see in long time running shows. Obviously, Star Trek will always have some food element enter in there. Some movies kind of talk, but for the most part,
No, it's not. It's too hard.
You would think like, what is there? They're like a space chef somewhere, and then
Well,
dude
it's
just wearing
just
a
not,
fucking
it's not the
helmet.
focus.
No, it never is. But in
Only
my
in a
head, I'm
couple
like,
movies.
well, how is that not the focus? I was like, dude,
I
that's
know.
everything.
Well, maybe that's just a sign that people don't care that much about food.
They never did.
They
Or
never
they never
did.
will.
It's
That's why
just
they'll
like,
wait it out.
I need it.
Yeah.
I need it.
Yeah.
I don't really want it.
I think that's why your point makes sense because you're like, yeah, they
It
need
just-
it, and
they
someone
need it.
said like, okay, let's figure out fast.
Well, if it's something I need, if I have to do it, I guess I'll do it.
see, and from a
But
business
I'm not
standpoint-
going to enjoy it.
From a business standpoint, how do I? You need it. I want to give it
Convince
to you,
you.
and I want to give it to you at least for $2 more.
Yeah.
How do I get you to spend just a little more money? Do I
That's
got to
what
throw a
I'm-
cake pop with a breakfast burrito? Like, what am I doing here?
That's
And
why
a
I'm always
CD?
telling people, slow down, dude. Where are you rushing to? Like,
No.
you're paying all this money to go out to eat. Stop thinking about what you got to do tomorrow while you're sitting down to eat, dude. Fuck tomorrow.
People don't want to be in that.
What
mindset.
did tomorrow you ever do for today you?
Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
Nothing.
Today you always have to do shit for tomorrow you.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy tomorrow.
Yeah. But see, the
You can figure out
tomorrow
his own
guy
problem.
is always looking.
The tomorrow guy's always
Ahead.
like, fuck that yesterday guy, dude, who closed last night.
That's what I'm saying. See, that's why they always take that there's that saying or there's that notion of the front, window of your car is humongous and the rear view small for a reason. Is because you always looking forward
Always looking
and
forward.
never looking back. But I'm like, okay, I could see that. But looking forward, I think is also a detriment because could I have predicted 5 years ago this is what I was gonna be doing? No. So then the future ain't shit. Like you could try to speak shit into existence, and there's some belief in that, I guess, to some degree. but for the most part,
sure. You can go get
you're
your,
in the
go
day.
what is it? You have to you look to. I always say look to the future. Be excited about it.
Mhm.
Remember the past. Remember your mistakes. Remember your good things.
Yeah.
But it's like remember. Only today can you affect anything.
Only today.
Yesterday's done.
Yeah.
Tomorrow hasn't happened.
See?
You're right now. That's all you can do.
See, so when it comes to food, then, when it is the day, I mean, that's what makes the whole breakfast, lunch, and dinner thing always fascinating to me because I'm like, I'm never hungry in the morning, like ever. And when I do eat in the morning, for me, like anything before 9, I'm like, oh, it's a wrap. Like the day's done. Like,
Really?
I eat and I'm just like,
Oh, not for me.
unless I re-up on coffee, which I hate doing. So it's like, do I have to eat first and then re-up on coffee? But I don't. For me personally, I don't need food in the morning. So that's what makes me question this universal idea of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Where you go to other countries, they kind of play out a little differently. So in America, that shit's already weird because the food pyramid alone. I don't know if you revisited the one from back in the days. That shit's
It's
idiotic.
it's wrong so many ways.
The
now.
fact that there's sugar
that's
just
the
on the
sci-
top.
That's
Sugar's
the
good.
science we had at the time.
Yeah, science.
That's the
sucks
science
ball
we
sacks.
had. Yeah, well, yeah, it does.
Because
that's why but they admit it at least.
It only sucks because
It changes tomorrow.
They implemented it because we wanted it, supposedly. That's what I don't
We
get.
needed it.
Because we don't need it. at all. So, but now when you try to, figure out what is the food conversation, I think it goes in line with what you were talking about. Like, people think ahead too far, and they're not thinking, so with food, all they need to do, it has to go inside with media, and then places of business do good marketing to just get you a fast, good meal. Don't think about it. Just have it. Don't even worry about that, because a lot of people don't think about food in general. And we've mentioned this a million times on the podcast. And you would think out of everything in the world that you would fucking put brain power to, it would be the one thing that you're putting inside of your body. There's nothing else that you're putting in.
The water and the food that you eat.
Exactly. And ain't no one trying to give it no time.
No, we're always like, I don't know.
Tell me. You tell me what to do. You tell me what to eat.
Yeah, just tell me, dude. I'll just do it. Whatever you say, I'll just do it.
Did that work for you?
I'll just do it.
It's going to work for me. That's why there's a million diets. That's why there's a million ways to eat. But we don't know, because
there's only one real
different.
diet. There's one real diet.
What's the real diet?
Burn more calories than you ingest if you want to lose weight.
Well, that is pretty simple. That is pretty simple.
That's literally it.
Yeah. That is. I mean, you couldn't break it down any better. But how many people actually calorie count? I don't have enough time to do that. I can't
But do you really have to count it?
It's a feeling. The shit you know. If you know you feel happy after that, do not eat that shit.
You know when you were bad.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, they're like, but like, how many? I'm like, I don't care, dude.
Yeah.
I know that if I eat a raw pepper in a salad, it was better for me than one stuffed with sausage.
Good point.
Okay, I know that.
Yeah.
But I also know it's okay to eat that sausage stuffed pepper and then go work my ass off for 6 more hours.
That's a good point.
That I needed it.
Balance.
And then I probably used up that pepper and burnt some little chunk that I had on the side of me. Yeah. And then I can eat something else after to help replace a little bit.
Did you learn that yourself?
I think I don't want to say I learned it myself, even though I kind of feel like I did.
Who'd you pick it up from?
I'm forever grateful for this nutrition class I took.
Just in class or away from class? Like from culinary school?
Okay, in school, away from culinary school, actually. Okay. It was when I was at Sac City. I forget why I took. I think it filled some GE thing or whatever. And I was like, oh, nutrition, like that
sure
seems like good knowledge for me to have.
Nutrition,
of
course.
And the guy who taught it was kind of a nerd too, and would always put like funny Fallout questions as like extra.
Good guy to trust. Yeah.
If you were in Fallout New Vegas and you came upon a mushroom, a piece of fat, and a chicken, and you had to do this later, it was really these extra credit questions that really solidified it. What would be the best choice for you?
Oh, mushrooms all day. Mushrooms all day.
Well, it depends on what the activity is.
Oh, I just thought it was like a psychedelic mushroom.
Right. Well, if it's psychedelic mushroom, go for it.
Not too many psychedelic chickens out there.
No, but it was the questions. He would always he was big on this point of fat had whatever grams per calorie, protein had this, and carbs in general, carbs had this, and he was always talking about trail mix and why it's so effective, and why it's called trail mix is like because you eat it while hiking, and the chocolate or the raisins give you immediate energy, right? Because you instant. And then there's the what's the other? Now I can't think of anything in there. And then there's like the peanuts.
Never
and
ate
stuff
trail mix in his life, folks.
Never,
continue.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The nuts.
The nuts and stuff are the protein. They take longer for your stomach to break down. So then by the time that raisin energy is burnt off and you start dropping a little bit, the
protein energy goes in.
Protein energy comes in and helps fill so that you have sustained energy. And then he said proteins fill you up fast. They make you feel full faster, and fats keep you feeling fuller longer because they take longer to digest. And I always remember those couple of things from that class, which is a credit to him, because then it helps me plan out my day. I think I've said this before, like if I know I'm going to go play soccer with my friends and stuff and like get after it.
Sausage peppers.
I should eat like some carbs. Yeah. And I know which carbs are good. Like if I eat a Snicker for my carbs, I know I'm being bad.
Yeah.
But I got to play immediately.
Yeah.
But if I have like a grain salad with like quinoa and vegetables all over it, those carbs, I have to burn them off, but they're not as bad.
Horrible.
But I just don't get lost in all that. Well, its pH is this, and my diet says I have to maintain this pH. I'm like, whatever, dude. Yeah. It's all just minus and plus.
Minus
and plus. It's like managing a checkbook, which no one does anymore. But if you could think about like, all right, I have 1,000 calories I can ingest today, and I need to burn 1,500.
Mm-hmm. Boom.
How do I do that? Oh, I ate a banana. That's like plus this. Oh, I did this activity minus this.
How many people you think actually do that?
No one does it.
No.
Because I try to tell people and they just get lost. They're like, that's too hard. I'm like, it's really not that hard. It takes a second.
Checkbook, everybody looking at you sideways.
I know. I tell people, I'm like, how is it that hard?
We're from a different generation.
I don't know. I know I had Hot Boys today, and that was bad. And that's like 3+ signs, right? But yesterday I was horrible too, and probably just had like 7-. I don't remember eating yesterday. I think I was bad. I might not have.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, 3+ signs, 7- signs. That combines still -3 player. I'm gonna go get some Rick's Dessert Diner maybe.
Boom! I still got some minuses left.
I'm still good.
I mean, that's a good way of thinking about it. The plus and minus system actually is the most rudimentary way, I think, to approach it, because everything has calorie counts. We've gotten to the point where every restaurant...
Almost everything's labeled now,
Everything's labeled, How accurate that is, obviously questionable, but I mean, they give you generally what you're looking for. And there's a million numbers. Just look at the caloric take-in, and like you said, start off with 1,000, plus and minus, and you wiggle away from there, but you'll realize the shit you like is always going to be on the minus side. Or, you know...
I don't even look. I just, like, think in my head of, like, arrows up and down. If something's bad for you, that's a big arrow that direction. If something's good for you, that's a good arrow that way. That's it. And I just try to keep it like kind of in the middle if I'm happy where I'm at.
Do people not know the difference between good and bad food? Or are we kind of at that point? Or to see, that's what's even weird to say that.
I think people choose to not know. I think as long as it's presented,
subconsciously they're like, I don't even know if that's good for me. I'm just going to eat what I eat.
People lie to themselves all the time.
Oh, of course.
Which is the one thing you should not do to yourself.
Which everybody does, and I love it.
I do it sometimes too.
Hey,
but you have to be honest with yourself and be like, all right, I lied to myself today. Today I was bad. Today I was bad. And that's okay. I mean, it's not.
No one's keeping tabs.
It's not good.
It's on you.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about video games at work one night, and one of the cooks was just like, the game police are not going to come after you if you play that game on easier. I'm like, you're right.
But it's on you.
But it's like, I have to play it on hard. And they're like, why?
That's the same thing with food.
I don't know,
it's
dude.
The same idea with food. It's like, if you feel guilty about eating something, ain't no one looking at you but yourself. And those kind of things resonate. But the food is made to be addictive like that, especially good food. Good food is supposed. Of course, it's going to have a shit ton of sugar in it.
We get addicted to optimizing things and being perfect. Which, if you want to be perfect, then you do have to know all X, Y, and Z. But then you get overloaded with information, so you quit. That's why I just keep it with like, that was a good activity for me. Oh, that was a bad thing I ate. Okay, now I got to do another good activity. Keep it at that. Stop doing multiplication without just doing the addition. Multiplication's faster. You
just got to find where
I
you
can do 10 times 10 and be like, that's 100.
But all the other numbers I don't know.
But can you do 33 times 42?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, do it right now. Go ahead. You can't. But could you do 32 plus 1s and 43 minus 3s?
Plus and minuses.
You could do that pretty fast.
Basic. That should be in school. That should be taught along with math.
I should just be the department chair of U.S. eating things. And make $200K a year. And
I ain't
be left
paying
alone.
taxes. Nope.
You
make $200K a year as a government employee?
Yeah, why not, dude? Go ahead. I'm helping the whole country.
But then isn't that all speculative at that point?
Sure. Why not? Isn't everything speculative?
But that's why when it comes to the food thing, I don't feel comfortable paying somebody to try to dictate how everybody should eat. That's insane to me.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have that come from within the household.
We all have different bodies.
True. But I think culturally, this is where I kind of lean back on the culture thing, is where culturally each individual should have some kind of home culture with food, and then from there you should be able to kind of assess that and then figure out where you stand from that. You don't have to go with your culture where you're brought up, because that's how most people do it. Unfortunately, is the conversation has never been had ever. So it's
we all think rice is bad, right?
Everybody thinks rice is bad.
Rice is bad.
Yeah.
How many fat ass people do you in those farms are there?
None.
You know why? They eat rice all goddamn day.
That's all they eat, I think.
That's all they eat. They ain't fat. You know why?
Ain't like that.
Because they be working hella hard.
They
burn off that rice.
That's true.
You can't just, I love rice too, but I can't just sit down and eat risotto all day.
No.
I'll be a balloon.
Oh, fucking risotto.
It'd be awesome, though. I would love to eat nothing but cheese and rice all day.
Fucking A.
Even how many, what's great? A lot of countries eat cheese and rice.
Oh, a lot of them. Rice
Italy,
is like a major staple.
You got like burritos.
Yeah.
Damn,
No.
Who
Mexicans,
wants to eat cheese
Asians.
and rice?
I mean, everybody
We
eats
all
rice.
be eating cheese and rice.
But we're all trying
Fat
to
and
demonize
rice.
it. We're all trying to
Let's
demonize
simplify it. Fat and rice.
Fat and rice.
Fat and rice everywhere.
You need the rice.
Keeps that full.
Rice
keeps you
is the
full
balance.
all day.
Yeah, rice is a cool looking bread. That's what that is to me.
It's cool looking bread.
Yeah, it's 1,000 little pieces of bread. That's what that is. You want to eat 1,000 of something? Yeah. Boom.
Boom.
Eat rice. Boom.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Tell them what they need to hear.
Already? Is it already time to hear? Wow.
Come on, man.
Okay.
You're almost on vacation. Come on.
Well, I know. I'm out of here. Don't talk to me anymore.
I know.
Drink your water because it's
Yeah.
getting hot. Drink a little bit more water.
Drink a lot.
Make your life simple with just some plus and minus.
Plus and minus.
Hit
Get
me up.
like a little
Hit
legal
me up
pad out.
if you need someone to keep you accountable, dude. I love yelling at people. It's kind of fun.
Oh, you're like a food trainer.
Pay me $200,000 a year to be your life coach.
Hey, that'll work.
Vote with your dollar for the love of God.
Every day, vote with your dollar.
If there's a new business in town that you like, please go support that with your dollars.
Take a chance. Take a chance. It's okay. There's people out there. Humans
Learn
aren't
some
nefarious
knowledge.
like that.
What's the new one? Listen to hear, not to reply.
Oh, listen to hear, not to reply.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Now
Thank you, Pete.
Drink your water, listen to. I got 3 things now.
That'll work. Any mushroom facts this week?
No.
Nope.
No,
He's on vacation,
I'm on
folks.
Vacation,
He's
dude.
on
I'm
vacation
outta
already,
here.
so we won't have a
my
session
mushroom
next week.
fact of the week is mushrooms taste good, and if you're foraging, don't pick them with your bare hands. I see people doing that a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they're poisonous and they look the same.
Truth.
Use gloves.
The ones with the red top and the white spots are the ones that make you gigantic, like in Super Mario. Get those ones first.
Touch them with your gloves.
Yes, gloves first.
Get some knowledge.
Sock up. Thank you, folks. Appreciate it. Food Junkie Radio number 26. P, I will see you next week. Enjoy your vacation.
Yeah, absolutely, I will.
Appreciate it, brother.
Cool.